All right, let's kick it over to our first interview of the show, first fan interview of the show. We got Zach Cohen coming on the show to join us. Zach, you're a big uniform guy, right? Appreciate you coming on talking some uniform matchups with us.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. It's not every day I get to hop on other shows and talk about uniforms. I mean, I post about it so much on TikTok and Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. So it's always fun to have other people to talk about it with, because this has got to be what I think probably the greatest year I've ever been alive seeing NFL uniforms with throwbacks and alternates, a new rivalries program. So it's a lot of cool stuff out there for uniform fans and just football fans in general, I think.
I was gonna say this is like perfect timing. The NFL's got we got some good unis going right now. Obviously, the Tampa Bay Bucks bringing back some class. That Bucks Seahawks matchup, that Week 5 matchup, Bucks Seahawks in the throwbacks, that was chef's kiss of uniforms. I'm looking forward to hearing your favorite matchup of the year, but that's so far been my favorite uniform matchup of the year, like bar none. Those two unis on the field against each other was sexy. But yeah, like you said, Zach, you got that TikTok page loaded with uniform matchups. You can give it a shout at the end, but I would highly encourage people to go check it out. It's been entertaining to watch, and I'm a little obsessed with it. Make some bets off of some uniform matchups. No gambling advice here, but you're I think some things to watch out for from your channel, some games to look out for. But why don't we kind of start into it? I guess first, Zach, who's your team? Who's like the uniform you have to watch the most?
Oh, the Miami Dolphins, and it's not fun. It's not fun. And the number one thing I always see is that they should make their throwbacks permanent. And my two cents for that are pretty simple. Is I don't, for those watching, there's a Dan Marino throwback right behind me, and I don't want that in the modern era. I want to leave the good times in the past. Like, please don't ruin that for me. If I had to see whichever Dolphins quarterback they conjured up wearing those throwbacks every single game, that wouldn't go over well. It would just blend the two eras. And then the other thing I always see is how people want the Chad Pennington, John Beck era uniforms with the navy typeface, the bold dolphin with the helmet on. And that's kind of the same thing, but for a different reason. The Dolphins were mediocre. I mean, they still are, but the Dolphins were mediocre in that time. I don't want those uniforms back because, damn, I've been traumatized by those uniforms my entire life. So again, please leave them in the past. I think they have good current uniforms. Actually, I think maybe they could be a bit better, maybe a different sleeve design. But for the most part, I think they're pretty overhated.
Nah, but I'm going to tell you right now, Zach, I love Miami throwback. See, I'm not sure if you're a sneaker guy. I'm a sneaker guy. South Beach LeBrons. We got the South Beach Bo Jacksons with like the orange. And listen, the Miami jerseys go perfect with my South Beach collection of shoes that I have. I kill it every time. I'm not gonna lie to you. I kill it every time that I go out with a throwback with my South Beach's LeBrons on.
Okay, hey, can't argue against that. It's been a minute since I've been really, really into shoes, but I can tell you right now, dude, the aqua and the orange color scheme, it's so good. It's so good. You pair it with the right pair of kicks, man. I mean, it could go pretty hard, especially down in South Beach. Hell yeah.
Yes. What do you think? What do you think about those orange Dolphins unis that they were wearing all the time back in the early 2000s?
I thought the jersey from that era was fine. I thought it was fine and pretty I don't want to say iconic because it didn't really mean anything outside of nostalgia. I thought those were good. When they redid them for Color Rush and had that more pleated orange with the full pants, that was a bit much. I would be open to an orange jersey down the line, but I don't think an all-orange uniform would be probably the smartest with the shade of orange they have right now. I know they've talked about it in the building. I don't know if that'll happen, but I know they've talked about it. So that's my one plea. If you're going to bring it back, just the jersey. We don't need the pants. We don't need the helmets. I'm good.
Yeah, look kind of clean. Like that Ronnie Brown era. Chris Chambers is still kind of hanging around. That electric orange, the white pants. I mean, it was kind of a clean look. I always using it back on Madden all back in the day. That was one of those unis you were waiting to spend your Madden coins on and spend a little extra on those electric oranges as a kid.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you right now. I think the two types of jerseys I see the most that Dolphins fans have or wear to the games that isn't their current uniform is that orange jersey, and then the throwbacks, the Aqua throwbacks, obviously. I've
Mhm.
got to be like the most worn thing I've seen outside of the primary set. And for good reason. Like you said, they're nice as heck.
Yeah, those are clean. I mean, well, speaking of clean unis, NFL has been trending towards all these white unis, these like all white out unis. We just saw the Bills wear theirs. That those were clean. I like those. You know, the Vikings got theirs. The Packers got theirs. And you know, my only tripe with the Packers is they just got to get rid of the yellow. Just go straight green and white. And I think it'd be so much. It would just be better. I think it's still nice. It's still nice. You got like a favorite like white out uni, whatever they're calling them, the winter warrior, winter Viking, whatever they're calling them. You got like a favorite white out uni that maybe we've seen or not seen yet?
Yeah, I think of those three. Well, I've said for a minute, the Bears have done a lot of different things over the years that haven't really gone over well, but I think they're the perfect team to do an all white look and just call them the Polar Bears. Pretty simple.
That's easy. Why
Pretty
that works?
Simple. Pretty simple. But out of the three you mentioned, I can't stand the Packers white ones, kind of for the reason you said, because the helmet, they just took the decals and the striping from the primary helmet, which those don't have the yellow because the shell is yellow. So it's a green and white helmet with their normal jersey that has the yellow in it. So my thing was I would almost do the exact opposite of what you said. Instead of making it all green white, I would add yellow striping and decal as a part of the stripe and the G logo on the helmet. If they wanted to go all green and white, I guess it'd be more consistent. I guess I'd like it a little bit better. But I think adding a touch of yellow to that would be nice. But I think I like the Bills, I think, more than the Vikings, just because I think the Vikings might do a little too much with it. I think it looks good. I think the Bills and Vikings, all whites, the Winter Warriors, and then the Cold Front Rivalries uniforms, I think they all look good. The Vikings silver stripe down the middle of the helmet has always been really annoying to me because it's not on their primary helmet and it's kind of out of place. Like it's just a one stripe, doesn't match any other pattern on the uniform. So I think I'd go with the Bills. I know some people didn't like the Bills uniforms. It's like I've tweeted about before. The settings on the cameras sometimes impact how a uniform looks. It's why the Dolphins uniforms look different in basically every game, because the cameras have to account for the shade of color the field is, the lighting in the stadium. Is it night or day? So to some people, the Bills uniforms probably looked a little too plain, or maybe a little too bright. But I think up and close, the blue outline and the reflective silver, especially with that like chrome beveled Bill logo on the sleeve, like I thought those were pretty nice.
Yeah, fire. When I seen them, I was like, man, they outdid themselves with those. And as a player, I always like all white. Now, I was the all white icy, but see, when I played in the 90s, early 2000s, we didn't have the artificial fields. So after 3 games with all whites, they looked dingy by game 7. But I'm an all white guy. I love icy white. I mean, that's the greatest thing ever. When I seen them Bills, I was like, ooh, I might got to buy one of them jerseys. They're fire.
Yeah, that'd be that Josh Allen one. I'm a big Josh Allen fan around here. Iman, you've been around the block a couple, 2-3 times. I mean, you got like an old school throwback jersey that you wish that was still around in these days. And this, like, when we're bringing back all these old schools, is there one that's like not been brought back yet that you were like, they got to get this one back in the mix? It was so nice.
I haven't seen too many that hasn't came back, but I'm gonna tell you, I used to love the New England Patriots during the refrigerated prairie days when I want to say they played in them not too long ago with the guy snapping the ball like the all white with the blue stripe. I love the New England Patriots throwback, and I hate to say it out loud because I'm no longer a Cowboy fan, but the Cowboy throwback Thanksgiving uniforms are the ones that I love with the star on the shoulder. They do the all white helmet with just the blue star. I mean, what's better than that? I got a Tony Romo one. Yeah, I got a Tony Romo one. Gives me nightmares to even think I still got those jerseys, but I got a Tony Romo one. But yeah, other than that, I wouldn't go further back because I seen Green Bay and Chicago and them do like the 50s jerseys. Those are the most hideous. I mean, jerseys I've ever seen in my life.
Brown
So
pants,
yeah, like don't ever do that again. So
recreating the leather helmet.
yeah, that just was bad. That was
Yeah,
bad.
those Cowboys ones are nice. The Patriots back in like the Drew Bledsoe era with the Patriots, those are cool unis too, man. Like there's another one in Madden. You were just hoping to unlock that or buy that one as an alternate uni in Madden. I like those ones a lot. Zach, I
Oh,
mean, you got
metallic jersey numbers. Yeah, yeah.
yep.
I actually, believe it or not, I liked the ones right before that. They looked a little simpler. They didn't have the slant on it. They didn't have the faded red and white stripes on the chest plate. But I don't know, they were fine. It's still the Patriot logo. It was like it kind of looked like the Giants, some people would say, but those are classics as well.
Yeah, I like the 99, 98 Patriots with the Patriot. Do you like it's like their own version of that Cowboys jersey. We got the Patriot guy on like the shoulder type of thing. Yeah, those are
Hey man,
kind of
I actually have a question for you. I've always wanted to ask this to a player because my vision, ironically, I talk about uniforms all the time. My vision is pretty terrible. Like I grew up playing like football, and the older I got, the more I realized like my eyes aren't really staying up at the level of my hands in the game. I always wondered if the face mask color impacted how you might see the ball in certain settings. I don't know if you ever had experience with that or thoughts about that. If like there was certain, even beyond the face mask, if like you walked onto a field and you noticed that, like maybe my eyes aren't adjusting the right way, or maybe I see way better right now because of the lighting or even how the helmet. Have you ever had any thoughts about any of that?
Not really. So in high school, I played quarterback. So I always had to have. I played with the Tony D's. So back in our days, we would know the name of face masks. I don't know the name of the face masks, what they call them now. So the Tony D was with Tony Dorsett wore, or the Eric Dickerson. So one year I had the Eric Dickerson, and it was in my peripheral right here. So it was bad. So my coach switched me to a Tony D. Then when I got in college, I played with a Dickerson. So every now and then when you're catching passes, like I said, that bar would kind of catch your peripheral bad. But nah, it never really made a difference. Because I'm thinking in high school, we had orange helmets, blue face masks, so it was dark. And usually when we play other teams, and see, I used to I'm in an era, we put tape on our face masks. We were accessorized out back in my days. I mean, wristbands, spats on the shoes, the long socks. I was a big Jim Harbaugh fan, so I wore black cleats. He wore black in Indianapolis when he played for Indianapolis. He had like the all black cleats, so I wore those. But no, face masks never really. To me, you knew who the good guys were from their face masks. In the era I played, you knew the good players from their face masks because it was only a certain amount of Dickersons they had, only a certain amount of Tony D's. And then when you see a safety with the Ronnie Lott, you like, oh shit, he's a
bad dude.
Yeah, because people don't want to wear those. Those were like the lineman masks. So those were the only thing that we kind of locked eyes on, just knowing who the players were. But it never affected me except the Tony D's. I mean, the Dickersons when your peripheral, because that bar is right there in your peripheral. But other than that, I wore a shield too in college, a clear shield in college. So yeah.
Good to know. All right. I'm glad I got that question answered because that's always bugged me. That's always bugged me.
Interesting. Oh, well, Zach, how about this? I mean, let's get into kind of like, before we get into the rest of the season, like you're going to give us some matchups you're watching for the rest of the season, just based off uni vibes that we got to look into. But is there any particular like all-time uniform game that you're like, that was it? That was the best uniform matchup all time? Well, that's happened already, perhaps.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everyone was talking about the Bucs-Seahawks game. I mean, they both celebrated 50 years this year. So the Seahawks had their throwbacks from last year. The Bucs brought out the white version of their creamsicles from their first year. So, like, already that's a big one. And a big reason why it looked so good, aside from the color palette and how the uniforms look itself, but the new fabric that the teams have whipped out since the Nike rebrand in 2012, like they're much smoother. I think everyone who has owned a jersey since 2012 and has had one before 2012 can also tell you, like with the Reebok mesh fabric that the Packers still emulate, it is so much different than the type of jerseys that we get now. They're almost like dry fit t-shirts. And that's exactly what the jerseys look like in the NFL. So they translate a lot better. Colors pop a lot more. The stitching looks a lot better on the current ones because the fabric is more put together. It's smoother. But when I think about like the best uniform matchup I can ever remember, I think about in 2009, it was a snow game. The Patriots wearing their Pat the Patriot uniform. So they had the white helmet, the red jersey. And then the Titans had their Oilers uniform, but not the one that they've worn the last couple of seasons. They had the light blue shell and the all white uniform with the blue numbers. This stands out to me because the refs also wore throwback uniforms.
Hell yeah.
Red and white striped uniforms. Wow. And I thought it was like, I'll never forget that. It's an iconic looking game, that's for sure.
Those are clean looks. I love that Oiler, like baby blue, that Carolina blue when it comes out is so nice. And those red ones too, those red Patriots ones too, those are clean too. I like those. I love seeing my former Badger James White repping those, running up and down the field. Those are clean too. All right. Iman, I don't know if you got an all-time jersey game from back in your heyday that you could pop off on.
Yeah. I'm trying to say I don't really have a game. Another jersey. I got a Warren Moon #1. I'm telling you, I was so I grew up in the 90s. I was in high school in the 90s, 95, 96, 97. So throwback jerseys became like this big thing. I guess Jay-Z. I don't know who actually started it, but I mean, I got the Warren Moon, the Charles Woodson. So I got and I killed them. I got the Charles Woodson, Michigan, and Charles Woodson, Green Bay. I wore them back-to-back days. I don't know if you remember the Charles Woodson shoes either.
No.
I'm a shoe guy and the jersey guy. But those were my favorite jerseys to actually wear. The Warren Moon, my Charles Woodson back-to-back with the Michigan and Packers. And I want to say Miami. I just like colors. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I go jerseys, because I've been a Cowboy fan my whole life, it's kind of basic, just the royal and the white. So I'm just used to that. Silver too. I like the silver, but I'm kind of the basic. If I had to do it, I would have to go into college, which I don't want to switch to the college, but the college Oregon, I can't remember who they played, but yeah, I don't really have a NFL game, but
not an all timer. Yeah. I've always liked, and I know they're wearing them currently. They kind of redone them up a little bit too. Those Chargers, like dark navy blue, or even the ones from. Personally, I was a fan of the ones last year that they don't have in their palette this year. Actually, not. Yeah, there was a 2023 unit. It looks like. Whereas like not their darkest navy blue, but like the just
royal blue.
Yeah, that royal blue look with like the yellow numbers, yellow trim on the white helmet. That I really like what the Chargers have done for the most part sometimes, but yes, I think I've always been a big Charger uni fan too.
Oh yeah, the Chargers have done it well my entire life, and like even in the history books from like the 60s and 70s, they've killed it. I have stood on a pedestal before to say it, and I'll say it again. I think blue and yellow in any combination, whether it's a navy or a light gold or anything, is probably the best color combination in sports. It looks fantastic, whether it's the UCLA, like light blue and gold, or what the Chargers got now with the sunshine gold and powder blue. It blows my mind every single time.
Perhaps the Milwaukee Brewers going to rep those walking into the NLCS this year. How about that now? I love it. Yeah, the Brewers unis too look so good with that dark blue.
Oh yeah,
with the yellow. All right, Zach. How about let's talk about rest of the season then? You said you got a couple matchups you're keeping an eye on based off uniforms. Maybe we should be thinking about some. Iman, I know you've been a betting man and you're doing well, so maybe this is going to give you some idea of what games to keep an eye on.
It. Yeah,
killing it. All right, Zach. What kind of games are you looking at rest of the season? Let's base it off of the uniforms. Like we got to be watching this game.
Oh yeah. Well, this first one was one I've had circled on my calendar for a while because I will have the opportunity to be there in person. Last year, I was at the Falcons-Bucks game where KhaDarel Hodge scored the game winner in overtime, and the Falcons wore their throwbacks, and they did a throwback field. That's the plan for this upcoming week, this Monday Night Football. The Falcons and the Bills are also wearing their throwbacks. So they've got the white helmet with the red standing buffalo, and then the throwback jersey with the throwback socks. So I'm more than excited for that because I'll be there. But what I gotta say, there's at least two more all throwback games this season. But there is one non-throwback game that I'm looking forward to, and it touches literally on what you just said, Austin. In week, I don't know what week it is, in sometime in this month, so week 6, 7, 8, week 8 or 9, something like that. The Chargers are wearing their all navy throwbacks against the Vikings, and the Vikings will have to wear a white jersey with that. So if they go an all white look, might not be my favorite, but just to see those all navies back again against what I think is a pretty underrated look in the Vikings, whether they're wearing their purple tops or their white tops, there's going to be the primary look. But I'm looking forward to that one as well, just because the Chargers navies, they were done so perfectly. Like, we knew that this could happen, and we're wondering, like, are they going to be identical to what they wore in San Diego? And they literally are, and it looks fantastic. Fantastic. So those are two I'm excited to see.
Week 8. It's week 8 game.
Week 8. Oh, man, that's going to be here before we know it. Let's go. I'm hyped
Is
about that.
A quick question, Zach, while we're here? I'm not sure how deep you are into it. Is it a correlation of wins and losses when throwback home and away? Like, because if I knew that, I'd be like, listen, I'm going to look for these throwbacks. Is it a correlation when most home teams go to the throwback? Do they usually win, lose? Is it something there?
No, but it's always overstated when it is. Like, I'll give you an example right now. The Bucs this year are 2-0 in their white creamsicle, so naturally all the fans love it a little more. And it kind of goes back to this bigger idea where, like, some people want the Bucs to make them permanent. And look, they're fantastic. Yeah. These creamsicles are my favorite uniforms in football. I don't think there's a single Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan who wants them to be permanent because of how poorly they played in the actual things, right? That is the trials and tribulations of bringing back an older uniform, as you invoke the feelings the team had when wearing them. So to answer your question, like, there really isn't. I know there are probably other teams out there that have a great record or a terrible record in certain uniforms, but I do find it funnier to be a part of that bigger conversation of, like, why not every team should make throwbacks permanent? You do not. I do not want the Dolphins looking like they're running out with Chad Pennington and John Beck on the field. I definitely don't. Not at all. But we got a couple other good ones this year too, and I think probably the biggest one. So the Bucs are going to wear their orange top creamsicles at home when the Falcons play. So the Falcons are going to wear their black jersey, red helmet throwbacks against the Bucs, and that's going to be another Thursday night football game in December. So nighttime, it's going to look fantastic with the colors in Tampa. Literally a follow up to their game last year where the Falcons wore the throwbacks at home. So I'm excited for that. I have a good feeling that probably the biggest uniform game of the season is going to come Sunday Night Football. And no surprise that these are all primetime games. The teams want to show off their nostalgic uniforms, arguably their best-looking uniforms. Seattle is traveling, and they will wear their blue throwbacks with the chrome helmets they just wore for an away game against the Commanders, who will be wearing those white throwbacks from the Super Bowl era they just unveiled again before the season. So you got the Commanders, going with the Super Bowl era uniforms. They'll still have the Washington Commanders W on the helmet.
Yeah,
that'll be the home jersey. Seahawks throwbacks, the away jersey. That's going to get a lot of buzz. I think it's like the worst kept secret among league circles that the Commanders are going to make these permanent after the season and then unveil, a burgundy look to go with it to wear at home.
Let me see these. Oh, yeah, those are nice. Those Commanders ones are nice. I'm liking. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. I forgot about that Falcons red. They had the red helmet too. Man, seeing back again. I just keep going back to Madden because that's what I was always just messing with the uniform. Back in the Michael Vick and Madden, repping some of the red, getting all that red uni on there that I could with the black and the gray pants or something. I love messing with some Falcons unis too. Those are clean. I kind of like what they've done now. I think those are some pretty good games to keep an eye on. I think the Commanders have an underrated look, to be honest. I think it's kind of clean. I kind of like it a little bit. Is there like a team where it's like, we got to scrap these? Was there one jersey you see that like, please throw these in the garbage, burn it, and just like throw the ashes out into the ocean?
Yeah, you just said them, the Commanders, but it's not for the reason you think. It's not for the reason you think. I'm not going to – look, they made the name change for a reason. I think it's fine, so I'll stick with it. Commanders isn't a bad name. I thought Washington Armada would have been the sickest name of all time to have a non-plural team name. I like the Commanders, but the uniforms they chose were horrendous. If they want to make them look exactly like they used to, sure, by all means, go for it. If they want to pursue a new era, like, I think that's fine and probably the smarter thing to do, because if you just keep bringing back the designs of the past, you're going to be stuck in the past. It's not a design progresses, and eventually those will get old. But the Commanders' current look, I think, is horrendous, especially the white one. And I just tweeted about this with the all-white look. The pants have no stripes, so the pants look exactly like the Jaguars' pants do, the Saints' white pants do. They all look the exact same except for the logo, really scrunched up by the pocket. But the jersey, the Commanders' white jersey, is a mess. How it got approved, I have no idea. It has, I think the only gold on the jersey is the gold Nike swoosh at the top of the shoulder. Then you've got the cutoff sleeve design broken up with a fake gradient diamond pattern and a random black stripe. They just did that. So I don't know if y'all know this. In order to make a black uniform, it has to be A, either a prominent part of your logo, B, have historical precedent for doing so. That's why the Lions could do that. Or C, it has to be somewhere on one of your jerseys. So the Colts, they came out with their black helmet because they put a black Nike logo on their away uniforms that you can't even see, but they skirted the rule. The Commanders did the same thing, and it looks horrendous. I think the helmet actually is pretty good. It's it's not. I think it's matte. There's more satin, and it's got the gold W on. I think that's sharp. Yeah. I think a white stripe along the gold helmet stripe would have been fine. But like the jerseys are just so bad. The diamond pattern, the sizing of the jerseys, like the sizing of the numbers, horrendous. Horrendous decision. They look so bad. I think the Falcons also could use something. The helmets, again, the Falcons and Commanders have two pretty good helmets, I think. The jerseys, complete mess.
I think when I'm talking about the Commanders ones, I personally am a fan of the all black ones. I kind of like, I don't know.
Hate those.
You don't like those? I just think they kind of pop. I think they kind of pop nice. And personally, I also like the all reds that they got going too. I'm looking at the ones that you don't like. And yeah, it's interesting.
I will say the Commanders bringing back the gold pants to pair with the burgundy jersey was a win. I don't hate the burgundy jersey as much because it's a little more cohesive and like it fits the color scheme. It's really, for the main part, the white jersey, then the blacks too. Like the all black uniform it's just a mess. It has no consistency. It's got random elements all over it. I don't hate a black uniform if done right, but it was just like, hey, like let's make it all black and then just throw random stuff on here. Okay. No rhyme or reason.
The Bengals all black isn't bad. I was just the high school I coach at, we're Bengals, so I'm designing some track uniforms right now, and I pulled up the all black ones with the all black, and listen, those are cold and fire. I like the Bengals because I was literally just looking at that like, I might do something with that. Now, I'm going to tell you, my worst jerseys are those Seattle jerseys. That one you got up there, those are the worst jerseys. So Cam Chancellor, I coached in my high school. I was his quarterback coach in high school, yes. And I have a white jersey of his in the blue, and I look at it every day like I never wear it out. Now, I got one box, but I never wear it out because those jerseys, I just hated that lime green with the gray. That's just bad. I think those are the worst ones ever in this era anyway.
Interesting. My the ones I've always do you remember the time when the Jaguars went with the gradient helmet, the Blake Bortles era, in that like mustard gold jersey with the gradient helmet, the black to gold helmet? That was a choice That was
think about
a
it
show.
every single day. I've been talking a lot about the Jaguars lately because they wore the Prowlers on Monday night. I loved the numbers on those, but the rest of the uniform was, like you said, man, a mess. The sleeves, I can't stand when teams cut off like the sleeves, and it has to do with the template of the jersey. Like sometimes just based on the fabric, like it kind of behooves you to make it a different color. So when you have like a white jersey like the Jaguars had in that era, and then just the sleeve is just black, I'm not a fan of that two-tone. And then the helmets too, man, like you said, is a mess, fading into the gold. Ugh, not good. Not good.
A quick question before we move on to Zach. Do you know are there fashion people that design the jerseys for teams, or they're kind of just somebody in the team? But do they outreach to like fashion people to say, "Hey, we want you to kind of throw a twist"? And what you think? Is it fashion people?
It is a little bit different based on the ideation, but the process is all the same. So the final approval for uniforms comes from within the team. It is the owner, the president, and the head equipment manager.
Okay.
So realistically, it's up to them how they want to move about the design process. The last, since Nike took over, it's pretty much all been Nike. If they want to bring in outside ideas, they can, but it is Nike who's sitting down there and saying, all right, this is what we're going to do. If you have any ideas, we'll intake them. Or if you just want us to go completely from scratch, like the Seahawks did in 2012 to make the uniforms you don't love so much. So it can be a little bit of both, but like Nike drives that process, and then it's up for the team to approve it. And then when the team's good with it, they got to get a league approval as well. And I don't think the league has a lot of rules, some of which have become more lenient over the years that kind of can dictate how the uniforms got to finish looking, like color scheme. You can't have, not that they would ever do this, but you can't have the Lions like adopting navy and orange. You can't. That's the Bears color scheme, navy and salmon, I guess. So there are certain rules that kind of dictate how the design happens. But for the most part, it's the team driving it, and then Nike is the one that puts it together.
Okay.
Interesting. Zach, and we'll wrap it up here. I think, I don't know, we're not gonna get into this because it would take some brain power, but you ever see those edits on Instagram where they merge the NBA look, the NBA colors with the football unis?
Oh my God, the graphic god does that.
You maybe have seen this. Have you ever seen one? There's been a couple where I was like, you know what? That one's kind of nice though.
Oh my gosh, yes. I've seen a bunch of them. I got a bunch saved. I use Instagram for two reasons. One, to interact with work, and then two, just to save uniform concepts. And some of the, I think 90% of what the graphic god makes is stuff I have saved. So I'm going to plug the graphic god, I guess, literally at the graphic god on Instagram and Twitter. Yes, I've seen those concepts, and I think they are fantastic. Sometimes
some of them half of them are just like
they can't all be winners. It's just how design works
for sure.
Those are always a fun scroll. Well, Zach, really appreciate you taking the time with us, going through some of your combos. Why don't you let the people know, because you do some awesome stuff on TikTok with jersey stuff. So why don't you let the people know where they can find you at?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys having me on. I know it's sometimes tough to describe design elements over audio, but the video, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube, same handle through all three. I'm way more active on Twitter, but I post a few times a week on TikTok. Seems to be my biggest following so far, at Zach Cohen, FB, ZACHCOHEN, FB. I appreciate y'all. This was a lot of fun. This was awesome.
Yes, sir. It was.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you so much, Zach. And we'll be watching the content more. It's good stuff, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
See you.